Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. The show we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network as part of the upper tier offering. This is the show where we review all the weekend's Premier League action and we dissect it down and categorize it into the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we get into that, what a weekend it's been. We lost two Premier League managers this weekend. Daniel Farke getting the boot from Norwich and Dean Smith getting the boot from Aston Villa. But let's go down through the results and see how this all panned out. Southampton won, Aston Villa nil. Goals from Armstrong. Very even game, but the Saints took their chance and Villa didn't. Villa losing five on the bounce there, and we know what happened. We'll get into that later. Man United nil, Man City 2. OG from Eric Boye, very unlucky from Boye there with that goal. And then an absolute beauty from Bernardo Silva with Maguire and Shaw falling asleep at the back stick. Looked like a training session again for Man City at Old Trafford. And again, they looked like the home team, United looking like the away team again. Brentford won, Norwich 2. Huge result from Norwich away at a tough ground to get anything from. Goals from Henry for Brentford and the boy Matthias Norman, who was absolutely brilliant for Norwich. Scored a beautiful goal and also got in his, or scored a beautiful goal, I should say. And then Pookie mopping up with a penalty. Really should have put it away even prior to the penalty when he broke away. Chelsea won, Burnley won, one of the shocks of the weekend. Poor result for Chelsea, really, who were cruising, really, but just a moment of lapse there led Vidra in for a goal. And then he also had a chance to win the game late on as well. So Chelsea, although I wouldn't say kind of lucky to run out with a draw, it was kind of like the Brighton Liverpool game. They should have been more switched on, really should have put the game to bed way before that point. But Burnley coming away with a point, huge result for them and for Sean Dyche. Um, Crystal Palace 2, Wolves nil. Saha on the score sheet and Conor Gallagher, who's absolutely in scintillating form at the moment there on loan from Chelsea. Vieira has them absolutely humming. Wolves, although they were showing signs of a bit of a recovery and stuff like that, dip back out again, but Palace absolutely flying. Brighton won, Newcastle won. Goals from Trossard and Hayden, but a red card for Sanchez laid on. Kind of a weird game, this one, you know. Brighton coming off the back of a really good draw at Anfield and could have took all the points there last week, but succumbed to Newcastle at home, 1-all. Arsenal won, Watford nil. Uh, Missed chance or a disallowed goal for Saka early on, but it could have made it more comfortable. Arsenal could have also. Aubameyang missed a penalty there, but a goal from Smith Rowe, absolutely clinical. Arsenal continuing brilliant form on a serious run at the moment and really looking like a great chance of top four. Arteta and Edu have the boys humming. Everton nil, Tottenham nil. Decent game, but neither doing enough to break the deadlock. Kind of ran out kind of boring in the end, but a bad sending off at the end there. Leeds won, Leicester won. Goals from Rafinha and Harvey Barnes. Even contest, Leeds maybe shading it. West Ham 3, Liverpool 2 to round out the weekend. So wasteful from Liverpool. Mane and Salah kind of quiet. Um, but what's his name? Allison having a serious howler of a day. You could argue probably a fault for all three goals, but certainly a fault for the first and the third. Let's move into this. The good. Southampton with a huge win, but nothing between the sides. Um, and ultimately costing Dean Smith his job. And we'll touch on that in the bad in a little while. Man City with a display of dominance at Old Trafford, both in possession and in desire. The press game was levels above United, who not only look like the away team, but a lower division FA Cup tie in all honesty. And serious problems there for Solskjaer. Unlike other teams, other clubs, will United show the courage to make the decision that needs to be made? I doubt it at the moment. Norwich pick up their first win of the season. Daniel Farke interviewed after the game seemed quite buoyant about it, but then we find out an hour later or a couple of hours later he's been fired. So obviously this was on the cards and they knew it was going to happen. But they picked up their first win and it was a really, really, really good win as well. And the boy Matthias Norman was absolutely super, scored an exceptional goal, was probing all the time. Absolutely brilliant. Burnley hung in at the bridge at 1-0. They do what Burnley do, you know, they keep themselves in the game and suddenly they get an opportunity and boom, you're wondering how this all happened after the game. But a goal from Vidra, absolutely brilliant goal. And of course, Kai Havertz scored a belter of a goal as well. And Burnley laid on, had a chance to steal all points. Didn't really tell the tale of the game. In all honesty, Chelsea should have been out of side early on. Let's move into the bad. Aston Villa poor form continues. Dean Smith getting fired. Keeps on tinkering with the team. Couldn't find the right setup. Obviously, the boy Leon Bailey in and out of the team. But they made the signings with the impression that they were going to push on this year and push for at least a top six spot. And I had tipped them for a top six spot at the start of the season, but it's fallen apart and they've lost 5 on the bounce. So Aston Villa shown the courage that other teams, namely Man United, should be shown. Fired their manager. It'll be interesting to see who takes over there now. It looks like the boy Steven Gerrard, who's doing a great job at Rangers, has been tipped to take over there. But I wonder would he leave Rangers. Brentford, after a good start to the season, look like the honeymoon period is over. Plenty of work for Thomas Frank to do. Slight dip in form there. Started off brilliantly, lit up the Premier League. They were outstanding first couple of games, but have fallen away badly at the moment. And maybe, just maybe, are finding their level. Chelsea in the bad as well, underestimated Burnley and were just a bit too comfortable in the game. Dominant for large parts, but the second goal eluded them and it came back to bite them in the end. So Chelsea really should have put these guys to bed and they will rue those chances that they missed. Let's get in. Also, I want to put in the bad as well there, Liverpool. Forgot to include Liverpool in there, obviously. Very, very bad day at the office. Lackluster performances around the pitch. I thought Robbo was very poor and he could have made the change. In all due respect, I think Tsimikas could have held his position in the team after his display against Atletico. And I think his final ball into the box would have reaped more benefits than Robbo's, who was very inconsistent. I also thought, obviously, Alisson Becker had a howler. He was at fault probably for all 3 goals, but certainly 1 and 3 anyway. Just got encapsulated with Antonio and didn't focus on what the ball was doing basically on 2 occasions, which was very poor and unusual for Alisson Becker. But let's get into the ugly. And there's only one place to start with the ugly, and that's Man United. They were so poor, levels below City, no hunger, no desire, disjointed, imbalanced, looked uncoached, looked tired. City just moved the ball around as they do. They just kept possession. United trying to probe, but they couldn't do anything. One good chance popped up for them, obviously. The chance that Ronaldo took, great save by Ederson, who palmed it away. But boy scoring the OG and then getting subbed, I thought it was harsh on the lad. I didn't think he was having that bad of a game. But the treatment of Donny is shocking. I mean, you have to look at this treatment of Donny. And this is a City team coming off the back of a poor result against Crystal Palace. And United are at home. So United should be dictating the pace. This is their place. But the treatment of Donny, like to bring Donny on when he does and all, it's like as if it's like nearly giving the 2 fingers to the situation. You know what I mean? I'm surprised Donny just tolerates it. You know what I mean? But whatever vehicle Ollie is on, it's definitely derailed, as you can see in the background there. And I wonder, are the board going to make a decision during the international break, or do they lack the courage that the likes of Norwich and the likes of Aston Villa have taken, and also Tottenham, to try and reap the rewards? But if they don't hurry up and get their skates on and make these decisions, they're going to be running out of options to put in place in terms of a manager. And the result of that then is they bring in someone who's not really what they wanted and they go back into the same cycle again. And we're having this conversation again in another 24 months. The real risk for United at the moment, with the way the results have gone at the weekend as well, is that they could drop down into 5th or 6th or 7th. And that's where they could end up. And they could also go out of the Champions League if they're not really, really careful. And that would spell Thursday night football for Man United. And that's just unthinkable for the likes of Varane, Ronaldo, and Cavani. As always, this has been The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, the show we bring you each and every week. We'll be back in 2 weeks when the Premier League returns with the show. As always, head over to YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network, for the shows. You'll get us on Twitter at _upper_tier. You'll get us on Facebook and Instagram, the upper tier. And if you want to drop your comments in the show, let us know how your team did this weekend. Were you happy? Were you sad? Did you have a good weekend? Did you have a bad weekend? Certainly a number of doors were opened this weekend, but they closed pretty quickly with some shocking results. Till next time, it's been a pleasure.